The main idea of the Millionaire Next Door is that true wealth is not about high consumption or luxury, but about financial discipline, hard work, and frugality. Most millionaires in the United States did not inherit their wealth. Instead, they built their fortunes over time by living below their means, investing wisely, and avoiding unnecessary debt. The book challenges stereotypes about the wealthy and teaches that anyone can achieve financial independence by adopting smart spending and investment habits. I'm Daniel, and welcome to the Millionaire Reader. The first chapter, Meet the Millionaire Next Door, challenges the common perception of what it means to be wealthy. Many people believe that millionaires drive luxury cars, wear designer suits, and live in extravagant homes, but the reality is quite different. The authors discovered that most American millionaires are, in fact, ordinary people who live frugally, work hard, and consistently save and invest their money. They are business owners, self-employed professionals, or skilled workers who have built their wealth over time. These people cannot be millionaires. They don't look like millionaires. They don't dress like millionaires. They don't eat like millionaires. They don't act like millionaires. They don't even have millionaire names. This quote highlights the main misconception that wealth is synonymous with outward displays of affluence. Instead, true wealth is accumulated through financial discipline and a lifestyle that prioritizes financial independence over social status. The chapter also introduces the concept of big hat, no cattle, a phrase used to describe people who appear wealthy but lack actual financial security. In contrast, real millionaires often live in modest homes, drive used cars, and avoid extravagant spending. The authors describe the typical millionaire as a first-generation wealth builder, often self-employed, who values financial independence more than displaying wealth. 80% of America's millionaires are first-generation rich. They emphasize that wealth is not inherited or a result of luck, but rather the outcome of a lifetime of disciplined financial habits. The millionaires they studied spend their time carefully budgeting, investing, and running their businesses, rather than trying to impress others. The key message is that wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. The second chapter, Frugal. Frugal highlights one of the most fundamental traits of self-made millionaires, their frugality. Contrary to the image of lavish spenders often portrayed in the media, real millionaires live well below their means. They understand that wealth is not about how much you earn, but how much you save and invest. The authors emphasize that being frugal is the cornerstone of wealth building, stating, "Being frugal is the cornerstone of wealth building." Yet far too often the big spenders are promoted and sensationalized by the popular press. Millionaires do not typically wear expensive suits, drive luxury cars, or indulge in extravagant purchases. Instead, they are disciplined with their spending, focusing on long-term financial security rather than short-term gratification. The chapter illustrates this with an anecdote about a focus group interview with decamillionaires, where the researchers had prepared an expensive spread of fine wines and gourmet food. However, the wealthy individuals ignored the lavish offerings and instead preferred simple beer and sandwiches. One of them, nicknamed Mr. Bud, famously remarked, "I drink scotch and 2 kinds of beer free in Budweiser." This moment underscores the difference between the perception of wealth and the reality of how true millionaires live. The chapter further challenges the audience's expectations by revealing how much millionaires actually spend on clothing, shoes, and accessories. The data shows that the majority of millionaires have never spent more than $399 on a suit, $140 on a pair of shoes, or $235 on a wristwatch. For every millionaire who owns a $1,000 suit, there are at least 6 owners who have annual incomes in the $50,000 to $200,000 range, but who are not millionaires. This highlights the paradox that many non-millionaires spend extravagantly on status symbols, while those who are truly wealthy focus on financial discipline. The authors introduce the concept of big hat, no cattle, describing people who appear rich but lack financial security, contrasting them with millionaires who quietly build their fortunes without ostentatious displays. The key takeaway from this chapter is that accumulating wealth is not about making more money, but about managing money wisely. The ability to delay gratification, control spending, and live below one's means is what sets millionaires apart from those who simply look rich. As the book consistently demonstrates, wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. The third chapter, Time, Energy, and Money, explores how millionaires allocate their most valuable resources, time, effort, and financial capital, differently from the average person. The authors emphasize that financial success is not simply a matter of earning a high income, but rather of managing one's resources wisely. Millionaires are deliberate in their decision-making, focusing on activities that generate long-term wealth rather than short-term gratification. They allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently in ways conducive to building wealth. This efficiency is evident in their disciplined approach to budgeting, investing, and business operations. Unlike under-accumulators of wealth who spend excessive time shopping, consuming luxury goods, or trying to impress others, prodigious accumulators of wealth dedicate significant effort to planning their financial future. The chapter presents a compelling comparison between two fictional doctors, Dr. North and Dr. South, to illustrate these differences. Dr. North lives modestly, invests diligently, and spends his time studying investment strategies, while Dr. South, despite earning the same high income, spends excessively on cars, vacations, and an expensive lifestyle, leaving him financially vulnerable. This contrast reinforces the idea that wealth is not determined by income, but by how effectively one allocates time and money. Furthermore, the authors highlight how millionaires are proactive in managing their financial affairs. They are more likely to spend time on activities such as tax planning, investment research, and business development than the average person, who tends to react to financial situations rather than plan ahead. Prodigious accumulators of wealth spend nearly twice the number of hours per month planning their financial investments as under-accumulators of wealth. This attention to financial details allows them to minimize taxes, maximize investment returns, and protect their wealth from unnecessary risks. Another crucial aspect discussed in the chapter is the millionaire's ability to resist financial distractions. While many people succumb to societal pressures to buy the latest gadgets, drive luxury cars, or live in high-status neighborhoods, millionaires remain focused on their long-term financial goals. The authors emphasize that financial independence requires conscious trade-offs, stating, "The foundation stone of wealth accumulation is defense, and this defense should be anchored by budgeting and planning." Ultimately, this chapter teaches that true financial success is not about how much one makes, but about how strategically one uses their time, energy, and money to build and sustain wealth. The fourth chapter, You Aren't What You Drive, challenges the widely held belief that expensive cars are a sign of true wealth. The authors argue that while many people assume millionaires drive luxury vehicles, the reality is quite different. Most millionaires do not buy new, high-end cars. Instead, they prefer reliable, modestly priced vehicles, often purchasing them used to avoid the steep depreciation that occurs in the first few years of ownership. The large majority of millionaires do not drive luxury brands. Instead, they choose cars based on reliability and value rather than status. The chapter presents data showing that the most commonly owned vehicles among millionaires are not high-end imports but practical, cost-effective models like Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords. The authors emphasize that those who are truly wealthy prioritize financial independence over the appearance of success. In contrast, under-accumulators of wealth often drive expensive cars that they cannot truly afford, financing them with loans or leases that drain their ability to build long-term wealth. This behavior is driven by the desire to signal status rather than to achieve financial security. Too many people who are not wealthy buy expensive cars to project an image of affluence, but in reality, they are sacrificing their financial future for temporary social approval. Moreover, the chapter highlights the stark difference between how millionaires and the average consumer approach vehicle purchases. The authors reveal that millionaires tend to negotiate car prices aggressively, seek out good deals, and often keep their cars for a decade or more, maximizing their value. In contrast, under-accumulators of wealth frequently upgrade to new models, trading in their vehicles every few years and absorbing the financial hit of depreciation and high interest rates. Buying or leasing a new luxury vehicle every few years is one of the fastest ways to prevent yourself from becoming wealthy. The chapter also discusses how car dealerships and luxury brands deliberately market to those who aspire to appear wealthy rather than those who are actually rich. Millionaires understand that vehicles are depreciating assets, not investments, and they refuse to fall into the trap of excessive car spending. The key takeaway from this chapter is that true financial success is built on wise spending habits, not on outward displays of wealth. The authors make it clear that you are not what you drive. Your car does not define your financial success. Your habits do. The fifth chapter, Economic Outpatient Care, explores the unintended financial consequences of wealthy parents providing excessive financial support to their adult children. The authors introduce the term economic outpatient care to describe monetary gifts, subsidies, or financial bailouts given by affluent parents to their offspring, which, rather than helping, often hinder their ability to become financially independent. They argue that while parents believe they are giving their children a head start, these financial handouts frequently lead to dependency, poor financial discipline, and a lack of motivation to accumulate wealth on their own. The more dollars adult children receive, the fewer they accumulate, while those who are given fewer dollars accumulate more. The chapter presents research showing that the adult children of millionaires who receive frequent monetary gifts tend to save less, spend more, and fail to develop the frugal habits that helped their parents build wealth in the first place. Many of these recipients adopt high-consumption lifestyles without the income or financial habits necessary to sustain them, ultimately putting them at financial risk. The authors emphasize that truly wealthy individuals do not rely on inherited wealth, but rather build their fortunes through hard work, discipline, and careful financial planning. Furthermore, the chapter highlights the significant differences between adult children who receive term economic outpatient care and those who do not. The authors reveal that the most financially successful offspring of millionaires are often those who receive little to no financial assistance from their parents. Instead of relying on handouts, these individuals develop strong work ethics, become disciplined savers, and learn to live within their means. Discipline and self-reliance, not financial gifts, are the real inheritance that leads to wealth accumulation. In contrast, those who regularly receive financial aid from their parents often struggle with overspending, live beyond their means, and fail to build long-term financial security. The chapter also points out that parents who frequently provide financial support to their children often underestimate the long-term damage they are doing. They believe they are helping, but in reality, they are enabling financial irresponsibility. The key lesson from this chapter is that financial independence cannot be given. It must be earned. Millionaires who want their children to be truly successful should focus on teaching financial discipline rather than providing ongoing financial support. The authors warn, if you want your children to become financially independent, never tell them that they are wealthy. The sixth chapter, Affirmative Action, Family Style, delves deeper into the financial consequences of economic outpatient care, particularly in how affluent parents distribute their wealth among their children. The authors argue that financial favoritism within families often leads to unintended negative outcomes, especially when parents provide more support to one child over the others. They highlight that parents often believe they are helping their children by giving them financial assistance, whether through cash gifts, trust funds, or outright inheritances. However, the data shows that these actions frequently create dependency and a sense of entitlement. The more dollars adult children receive, the fewer they accumulate, while those who are given fewer dollars accumulate more. Parents who repeatedly bail out one child, often under the guise of helping, unknowingly set them up for long-term financial instability. The authors also explore the resentment that can develop among siblings when wealth is not distributed fairly, especially if one child receives continuous financial help while the others are left to fend for themselves. Over time, these disparities can erode relationships and create tension within families. The chapter further explains how parental financial support can discourage self-sufficiency and wealth-building habits. The authors introduce the concept of economic discrimination within families, where financially responsible children often receive less parental support than their spendthrift or financially reckless siblings. The child who is most financially independent often receives the least financial support, while the child who is the least disciplined receives the most. This dynamic is particularly damaging because it rewards poor financial habits and punishes those who have developed self-reliance. The authors warn that children who grow up expecting financial handouts are less likely to take responsibility for their financial future and often fail to accumulate wealth on their own. In contrast, those who receive little to no assistance are more likely to develop the frugal and disciplined habits necessary for financial success. The key takeaway from this chapter is that wealth should not be used as a tool to control or enable children. Instead, affluent parents should focus on instilling strong financial values and work ethics in their children, ensuring that their legacy is one of independence rather than dependence. The authors conclude, "The best gift you can give your children is not money, but the ability to become economically self-sufficient." The 7th chapter, Find Your Niche, emphasizes that one of the most important factors in wealth accumulation is choosing the right occupation or business. The authors highlight that most self-made millionaires have built their fortunes not by working in glamorous, high-status professions, but by operating businesses in unassuming, often overlooked industries. Wealth is more often the result of a lifestyle of hard work, perseverance, planning, and most of all, self-discipline. Many millionaires are small business owners, running enterprises such as pest control companies, welding services, mobile home parks, and janitorial firms, businesses that require hard work but offer high profit margins and less competition. The key insight here is that wealth is rarely about having a high salary, but rather about controlling one's financial destiny through business ownership or finding a highly profitable niche within a given industry. The chapter also dispels the myth that doctors, lawyers, and corporate executives are the primary millionaires in America. While these professions can generate high incomes, many individuals in these fields fall into the trap of high consumption lifestyles, which prevent them from accumulating significant wealth. Instead, the most financially successful individuals focus on industries where they can build equity, reinvest profits, and maintain frugal lifestyles. Moreover, the chapter stresses the importance of passion and persistence in selecting a career path that leads to financial independence. The authors provide examples of millionaires who found great success by identifying underserved markets and capitalizing on them. Those who are proficient in targeting market opportunities and who maintain a long-term perspective are more likely to build significant wealth. They argue that people should not blindly follow conventional career advice or assume that traditional high-status jobs are the best paths to wealth. Instead, they should evaluate industries based on profitability, stability, and long-term growth potential. The chapter also points out that many millionaires prefer self-employment because it offers control over financial decisions, allowing them to save more, invest wisely, and accumulate wealth at a much faster rate than salaried employees. The key takeaway is that wealth is built through strategic decision-making, careful career choices, and a focus on long-term financial goals rather than short-term prestige. As the authors conclude, find your niche, work hard, and remain disciplined. These are the true keys to financial success. The 8th chapter, Jobs, Millionaires versus Heirs, explores the fundamental differences between self-made millionaires and those who inherit wealth, particularly in how they approach work, career choices, and financial independence. The authors emphasize that most millionaires accumulate wealth through discipline, persistence, and a strong work ethic rather than inheritance. 80% of America's millionaires are first-generation rich. Unlike heirs who may feel entitled to financial support and often lack motivation to create their own success, self-made millionaires tend to be highly driven individuals who carefully choose careers that offer financial growth and opportunities for entrepreneurship. The chapter reveals that millionaires are more likely to be self-employed or own small businesses, as this provides them with greater control over their income and wealth accumulation. In contrast, heirs of wealth often struggle with financial responsibility, as they have not developed the same frugal habits and work ethic as their wealth-building parents. The authors warn that when children grow up knowing they will inherit money, they are less likely to take financial risks, work hard, or develop the skills necessary to sustain their wealth. If you want your children to become financially independent, never tell them they are wealthy. Furthermore, the chapter discusses how self-made millionaires focus on professions and industries that reward productivity and financial discipline rather than status and prestige. Many heirs, influenced by their privileged upbringing, gravitate toward careers that are socially desirable but not necessarily financially lucrative or sustainable. The authors highlight that heirs are more likely to pursue occupations in academia, the arts, or nonprofit sectors, which may provide personal fulfillment, but do not typically generate significant wealth. On the other hand, millionaires strategically choose jobs that offer high earning potential and opportunities for wealth accumulation, often in fields such as construction, wholesale trade, or manufacturing. Most of the types of businesses we are in could be classified as dull normal. The key takeaway from this chapter is that true financial success is not about what one inherits, but about how one works, saves, and invests. The authors stress that those who achieve financial independence do so not because of luck or family money, but because they make deliberate, disciplined choices about their careers and finances. Self-made millionaires understand that wealth is not what you earn, but what you keep. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.